Erdem, Tom, thanks for joining us. We've got a fan Q&A. Tom, we're going to start with you. Oliver West has asked, when are the kits being released and when do you see non-season ticket holders being allowed in?
So the kits, we're still waiting on delivery from Araya. I know it's been quite a hotly covered topic, certainly online. We launched the home kit getting on for a month ago, and that was with the plan of then going on sale that following week. Obviously that hasn't happened, so obviously we want to avoid that with the away kit, so we're holding off on releasing that until we know that we've got it in stock and can go straight on sale. As I say, yeah, we're waiting on that delivery. I think that the shipping times have been altered, obviously owing to COVID. Obviously Araya's factory's out on the continent, so that's had a bit of an impact on things, but yeah, we appreciate the fans' frustrations with it, and we're just waiting for that delivery, and as soon as we have it, hopefully a few days after, the fans will have it. Second question on season tickets, we're working, I think, similar to a lot of other Football League clubs, we're working towards October to see a percentage of fans being allowed into the ground. We're hopeful that all our season ticket holders will get access from October, and that's your best way to be able to see us play, obviously initially. And then we're currently working at the moment on a few schemes that will allow those that aren't season ticket holders to get priority access to, that potentially limited amount of tickets that might be available on a game by game basis. But yeah, I think we'd stress that the best way to maybe securely sit at the moment is still through a season ticket. But yeah, we're working on a few initiatives that should hopefully be able to see fans in as and when we're allowed.
Andy Salmon has asked, what will be done to promote the club more around the town?
Yeah, that's another one that we get quite a lot of. We always get asked quite a lot. I think for some context, we've done a few sort of small bits in town over the last few years. One that stands out for me was we did a kit launch for the kit, maybe I think it was 2 seasons ago, the 18-19, and we did a campaign in the County Mail on like the digital screens that are in the shop. And that campaign, I think it went on for I think it was 2 months. It cost us $4,000 to put them on the screens, and sales didn't change. So that was one where we obviously learnt from that, and obviously Erdem will agree, we want to branch out into the town and get our name put out there more. I just think now more than ever we've got to look at the sort of the cost benefit analysis on everything, and that's something that falls under. So it's something that's on the list, but at this moment in time it's something that we've got to look at shrewdly and see what we can do, what we can do in the right place and right time, basically.
Erdem, this one's for you. What positions are you looking to build on still in the transfer window?
Well, evidently we need a goalkeeper and we need a striker as a cover, or someone to challenge for the places we've got up top. The team is well rounded, and I like to say we're about 90% complete, 95% complete where we want to be. That's what we want.
What compensation did we get for Kamara?
I don't want to reveal everything, but we got a fee, and we've got a very healthy sell-on. A sell-on that can result in making a very substantial revenue stream for the football club. So I'm delighted with the deals that have been put together, in the sense that the future of the club, there's a future potential fees in the future for the future of the club, which is great, and it's something that we're building on, and hopefully this strategy will bring us many fruits for the future and the survival of this football club, and in order to stay competitive.
This one's been asked a few times. What is the current situation with Felipe Moret? Is the club looking to sell him, loan him out again, or mutually cancel his contract?
At the moment he wants to stay up north, so we're seeing how it will go. It's a topic that is in discussion at the moment.
Tom, back to you. Will matches be televised before we allow back into the ground?
Televised, yes, in the sense of iFollow will be utilised. So there was a statement that went out last week that said that for this coming season that all games will be available on iFollow, and then across the league, the statement I suppose has been that if you purchase a season ticket, all the season tickets holders will get an iFollow code that will benefit them, and they'll be able to watch the games that they can't see in person for free on iFollow. And then obviously for the select cup matches like Saturday, for example, they'll be available for everyone to purchase on iFollow. So obviously, as per usual, that season ticket holders wouldn't get cup tickets included in their ticket. They'll be able to buy the pass and get the full game with commentary as per usual.
Is there any scoreboard update?
So the update with the scoreboard, there was a few issues with the council surrounding planning permission. That's now been overcome, and we are literally just awaiting the last, T's to be crossed, the I's to be dotted, and then hopefully installation will be commencing any day. I know in the previous update I said the start of August. Has evidently been slightly delayed, but it's I promise you the scoreboard is still firmly on everyone's agenda, and we'll be up sooner rather than later.
If away support is not allowed into the ground, will you use the whole stadium for home supporters to increase the numbers attending games?
So at the moment, that's currently the plan, yes. There's a vote with the Football League this week to sort of decipher the regulations around that. At the moment, it's left to clubs' own sort of discrepance to whether they want to allow away fans or not. As a club, we made the choice to, as you say, open the ground up to all our home fans, and that was based on, that means that ultimately we can get in more of our own fans, we can, get as many season ticket holders in as possible, and then, all the casual fans that purchase on a match by match basis. As I say, there's a vote for Football League this week, and if that were to change, then obviously, we're bound to those regulations, but the decision we took at the moment was to keep it home fans and, get Crawley fans in to see the games.
In addition to that, from last week we were in a SAG meeting, they said that by keeping the away fans out, you're more likely to get the permissions to get your fans in. So our priority is our home fans. So taking that information on board as well, we strongly believe as a club that we should only cater for our home fans in the beginning, because that also caters for us to get our home fans in as a guarantee.
I think there's a few, just building on what Erdem said, away from football, I think you've got to look at the bigger picture certainly with away fans, and that sort of debate, I suppose, is that, is that unnecessary travel? For example, someone coming down from Carlisle for a game and vice versa, us going up there. We all sit in, away games are just as big as the home games. So, our away fans are appreciated just as much as the home fans, so we know that it's a big part of a match day, but, at the moment it's something we've just got to deal with at the moment.
Is it possible that the club could use the Millwall game as a tester for social distancing?
The Millwall games come a bit too soon. I think everyone at the club would agree that that's it's just not really possible from a safety aspect, let alone the fact that the policing and the stewarding and everything that comes with that. The ability to have a test event doesn't come from us either, so we would have to submit a proposal to the various authorities. It's not quite as simple as saying we're going to do a test event and crack on. There's a lot of sort of hoops you've got to jump through, red tape to sign off. But rest assured, myself, Erdem, Claire, Chris, Grant, Dave, all the security team, all the safety team are all working hard to try and get fans back in as soon as possible. At the moment, we're still hopeful for the start of October. Hopefully we can get something potentially sorted maybe before then. But without promising too much, I think a safe bet would be to still look at the start of October.
If a fan, steward or staff member tests positive, how will track and trace be implemented around the ground?
So that would be done on the basis of if you were in a restaurant, or any other sort of public space, I suppose. It would be going through the NHS track and trace system, as you mentioned, and it would be the whole stadium.
Is there any update on potential compensation for games missed due to COVID-19?
So that update we put out getting on for a few months ago now. So we're adopting a tiered approach. So obviously the first one is, as we mentioned, with iFollow for fans that can't see the games but want to be able to still follow them. They'll get a code to watch on iFollow. And then as I mentioned, it'll be the tiered approach. So the next approach will be money off internal club purchases in the shop, things like that. And then finally, if none of those are sufficient, it will move on to a pro-rated discount on next year's season ticket. So yeah, as we said at the time when we released the statement, no fan that purchases a season ticket will miss out. They'll either receive some form of compensation or be able to watch the game, albeit on iFollow.
Are there any plans to provide an online-only programme?
It's something we've thought about doing. I think the programme, as fans will well know, over the years has been a hot topic of discussion again, of whether you keep a print, whether you go online, all that sort of thing. I think what's maybe important to stress is that whether it's online or not, it's a lot of work in putting together a programme. And again, just sort of something at this moment in time, we'd like to think that we'll be able to get a good amount of content out on our social channels, website, pre-match, post-match, all that sort of stuff. So content-wise, I don't think fans would maybe gain anything from having a programme. And then it just got to a case of internally, is that a cost and time and effort that could better be spent elsewhere, basically. So we weighed it up, and at the moment we're not planning on doing one, but I mean that may change.
Will the ground become cashless?
That will probably depend. Obviously, at this moment in time, from our last game, it wasn't. That could potentially change going forward. I haven't had any plans to do so at the moment, but again, with all the regulations that are coming to play, it may well be something that we have to adopt.
There was a statement made about allowing NHS staff in for free. Obviously, a lot has happened since then, but how practical is this now?
It's obviously something we're still looking at. I believe that at the time when we put out that gesture of the 2,000 free tickets, hospitality tickets, all that sort of stuff, that was all based on the fact of when we're back up and running at a normal capacity and can obviously facilitate that. I think it would be very difficult at the moment with a limited capacity to say you're not coming in, but we're going to give away X amount of free tickets, all that sort of stuff. I think it's just a bit of a can of worms, really. So hopefully those that will be able to benefit from our donation, we'll see that it would make sense to do that when we're back up to our full capacity.
As a club, we are ever grateful for the NHS service and what they provided during this virus.
Can you please confirm that face masks are only required whilst moving around the ground and not in seats or stood watching?
Yeah, so the face masks, once people are in their positions, whether it be in the terrace or sat in their seats, won't have to be worn. Face masks are solely for when you're moving around sort of the vicinity of the stadium. I think the face masks in general, I know there's been a bit of debate online about if you have to wear them, if you don't have to wear them, all that sort of thing. And again, I maybe should stress that things like face masks, we're taking guidance from various authorities that, in the sense of face coverings, that the advice we had was that if you have face masks on, it's more likely you're going to have a higher percentage of fans allowed in. So to us that was a no-brainer. Obviously it's not ideal, and no one here wants to be wearing a face mask when they're at football. No one wants to be social distancing. No one wants to be doing all the red tape that you've got to jump through. But we're sitting there going, we want to get as many Crawley Town fans in to the stadium to watch Crawley Town as possible. So if that means wearing a face cover and a mask, all that sort of thing, then I think that's something we'll all take.
Erdem, back to you. What are your long-term ambitions?
The long-term ambition of the club is to remain competitive. It's 5 years. One thing I've learnt is any club of any magnitude or a small stature can go up. You've seen Accrington, Swindon's go up, then you've seen Notts County and Macclesfield's go down. So for us, the most important thing is retaining our EFL status, but at the same time, every season we have to do our best to try and compete and try and challenge those playoff places. I think this year we've got a really good squad. I really believe in the lads, the character. The staff have been brilliant. They really care about the club. I'm not just saying that, they've worked really closely with us. We've worked as one. It's the first time I've had that type of feeling. So hopefully we can translate that onto the pitch. We've got good 2 tests now, and the long-term ambition overall has to be we have to keep on progressing up the leagues.
Is it legal or ethical to insist on a lanyard displaying exemption when everywhere else is taken on trust?
So I suppose our choice to have the lanyard system in operation is purely down to the fact that if you're not wearing a face mask, on the basis that we're enforcing face masks in the ground, if you are medically exempt from wearing a face mask, you will be challenged on that. All the wristband does is show that you are medically exempt, and it means that you won't continually be challenged as you move around the ground. Obviously, by no means will people's medical exemptions be pushed. It just may well be a case of you enter the ground and the steward on the gate may question, can you please wear a face mask? Going to be medically exempt, fine. You then move 100 yards, down to the other end of the stadium where the steward will just ask you the same question, and then will ask you the same question and ask you the same question. So the Lanyard system is purely to basically stop the same question being asked multiple times. If people are happy for that question to be asked multiple times, then no problem. Yeah.
Can you confirm any smoking or drinking half-time arrangements?
So, as per we do currently, we are making provisions for a smoking pen of some form. I think when fans do come back, our concourses will be looking slightly different than usual. Chris and Grant are just putting the final plans towards that at the moment, but we're hoping that, with that modification, I suppose, that people's match day experiences won't be altered too much, and that obviously includes things like smoking, catering, all that sort of stuff. But I think it's just important to stress that whilst we're trying not to move too far away from fans' match day experience, there are obviously going to be a few changes.
If fans can return from the 3rd of October, will I have to sit 3 seats away from my 5-year-old son, or will he be able to sit next to me?
So that's all part of the social bubbling. So I believe there was a statement put out last week from the ticket office, whereby fans that want to sit in a bubble should get in contact with the ticket office, and hopefully they'll be able to make that provision. So to avoid scenarios like that. Yeah.
After seeing Bez leave, can we expect any more departures from the club?
There's no planned departure at the moment, but just on that note, with Bez leaving, we've got Sam Matthews and Tyler Frost, not to put pressure on these lads, but they're lads that can play in that position, so we're hopeful that they can step up to the plate and give us the right impetus to go forward.
Finally, the last question, are we looking at any long-term loans?
Well, hopefully by the end of the week or by the end of next week we may have a few loans in, and therefore I think, like I said before, we'll be about 100% complete, and as a club we're completely satisfied with the recruitment and what we've prepared.
Just one last question, are we looking at any replacements for Ollie and Bez?
Well, we are looking at another striker. For Bez, we believe that we've done our homework over the summer, since March actually, and we've got players in Tyler and Sam. When we bring in these players, we're not bringing them as a surprise, or we're just getting them because they've got a cool name. We're getting them because we've actually done our homework. We watch these boys 90 minutes on the programs. We ask for references. We know what they're going. We know and we expect them to bring something to the table. When Bez came here, he only had, I think, 5 minutes of EFL football in him. So we also knew what to expect from Bez when he came. Of course, you can get it wrong every now and again. That's normal. That's football. It happens at the highest level. But for us, the most important thing is the fans believe in us, keep the faith, and hopefully we can keep delivering on that. Obviously, I wanted to add as well about the younger players. We've got a good crop we signed 3 under 20 players this year, and that's just basically to add to the philosophy of trying to make players our own, so they come through our Crawley system. And the 17-year-olds we've got and the 19-year-olds we've got, I ask the fans to be patient with them, give them encouragement, because they need it, and they're also special talents. And once again, thank you for your support.
Right, that's all. Thank you.